So joining me now is Inna Sovsun. She is a member of the Ukrainian parliament who has stayed in Kyiv, in the Kyiv region, to help inform the world of the horrors of the war. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us, Inna. A senior U.S. defense
Thanks for
official says that the Russians are approaching Kyiv from different directions. New video is showing fighting intensifying nearby. What's it like in your city now?
Well, it is tense, of course, as it has been from the day one of the war. We don't know whether the Russians will actually get into the city. We do get different news because, on the one hand, there have been heavy fightings on the northwest of the city, with the cities of Irpin and Bucha completely devastated, and we have all seen images of people trying to escape from those cities. Now they seem to be coming from the northeast, which is a different direction. There have been some battles yesterday over there. It seems like the Ukrainian army actually did make a good fight, and then many Russian convoys were actually stopped and killed, but there are many more coming. So we are fully aware that they can come into the city anytime, and that is a very scary perspective. Despite the city has been fortified, basically, with the territorial defense, with the checkpoints and all, there are just too many of them, and it's just scary to imagine what they can do to our city.
I want to put up this picture of you working with your rifle in the background. You have friends and family with the army as you inform the world of the horrors of this war, but remain ready to fight. Now, based on what we have seen in other Ukrainian cities, do you think it could come to that? That you're actually picking up a gun and that you actually have to fight?
You know, I'm a university professor. That is not something I expected to have ever in my life. But that is what my life is right now. For 2 weeks, I haven't seen my son. He's with the family in the Western Ukraine. I haven't seen my boyfriend. He's with the army. I haven't seen my parents because my mom is in the Western Ukraine and my dad is with the territorial defense helping evacuate people. I don't know what can happen. If someone told me, 3 weeks ago that this would be my life, I would never believe. But this is what we turn to. I am now using my voice as a weapon. I am talking to the world and explaining what is happening here in Ukraine and why we need help in terms of securing our sky and ensuring the no-fly zone. But if that doesn't work, if the world does not react and does not help us, what else is there for me to do? I cannot just leave my seat. I cannot leave my people. I cannot allow the Russians to take over. I've been building my life here in Kiev for over 20 years. I've seen what they have done to my native city of Kharkiv, where I spent 17 years. They just bombarded and basically turned it into Aleppo, with the whole world just pretending not seeing what is happening there. What else is there for me to do? I don't really see a big of a choice.
You mentioned the 9-year-old son that you mentioned. You said you haven't seen him in 2 weeks since the war began, and you shared this picture that he drew, and it says "no-fly zone." Listen, I can't imagine how difficult it is to explain to a child why their life was completely upended and mom needs to be away. What do you say to him?
That was probably the most difficult part of the last 2 weeks. When I had to call him, I wasn't calling him the first 3 days of the war because I needed to stay put. And then the fourth day, he called me and we chatted. And he said, "Mom, when will I see you again?" And that's when I started crying because I didn't know how to answer that question and when I will be able to see him again. So then I said I will call him back. And in a few hours, I got myself together and I got ready for the talk. And I explained to him that the war is happening and that children are sitting in the bunkers and that the Russians are throwing bombs on their heads. And he asked me, "Is there any way that we can protect those children?" He got really scared. He's completely freaked out by the very idea of somebody dying. And now when it's so real, he got completely freaked out. And so I explained that we can protect the sky with with the kind of support from the airplanes and other. And he said, like, "Oh, we should build a roof." And that's what he drew on the picture. Well, he did cover the sun under the roof, so it's slightly wrong. But the
He
whole
wants the
idea is
sunshine to come in. We can't blame him for that, right?
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But this is how he feels, and that is he keeps on asking me, "Mom, how are the kids in the underground stations in Kharkiv?" He drew another picture about Kharkiv. I didn't post that one, but he was particularly touched with Kharkiv because he knows that's my native city. So I was talking a lot to him about that. It's extremely difficult, but then I'm also feeling lucky that he's safe and he's not waking up to bombs every night like other children.
But
He's
do you worry
alive.
that? But do you worry? I'm sorry, he's alive, but what? What did you say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
He's alive, and I'm reading news about other children not waking up in the morning, and that is just terrifying. That is the most scary thing for a parent to think about. I was reading about a report of a man who was trying to escape from Bucha, and 2 of his children were killed during the evacuation, and his wife. And that is something I can't even think about how much pain he's in. So I miss my son, but I'm lucky that he's safe and well, and so is my boyfriend and my parents.
Do you worry that your son may never be able to return to his home in Kyiv?
I do. Yes, it is a real chance. I was thinking whether I should probably try to find some spot for him to go to school in Europe. I don't know. I don't want to do that. I still hope that there can be a relatively quick solution of kicking Russians out. But that, frankly, now depends on the level of support we shall get from the West.
Yeah.
So yes, I am worried. I am worried, and I don't want. He had a school. He had his friends here. He's missing his toys. He asked me if I can, transfer some of the toys to him, but it's impossible right now. I want him to have his life back. There is no good reason for him not having his life as it was. Just crazy man in Kremlin deciding that he can just invade another state with no good reason.
Yeah. What's his name?
Martin.
Martin. Well, Ina, we hope that you and Martin and your entire family stay safe. You're very brave, and we just appreciate you joining us and telling us what's going on. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.